The sleek, black car rolled into the sprawling driveway 3 hours ahead of schedule. Victor Stonewood emerged, his polished shoes tapping sharply on the cobblestone path. He hadn't informed anyone of his early return, not his secretary, not the household staff, not even his son, Jamie. Victor wanted to observe the true dynamics of his grand estate when he wasn't around. For weeks, something felt off. The mansion seemed altered. The staff behaved oddly, and Jamie, his wheelchair-bound son, barely met his gaze anymore. "I own every inch of this place," Victor murmured to himself as he approached the front door. "So why do I feel like an outsider?" He turned his silver key silently, easing the door open. The vast mansion was eerily still. Too still. Victor tugged at his tie and stepped inside, his pulse quickening. Something was stirring here. He sensed it, then he heard it. Laughter. Not the forced chuckle Jamie sometimes offered during lessons. Not the courteous giggle he gave his doctors. This was genuine laughter. It bubbled up from deep within, the kind Jamie hadn't uttered since the accident that claimed his mother and confined him to a wheelchair. Victor's chest tightened. He followed the sound, his pace quickening along the marble corridor. His hands trembled. Was he imagining this? Jamie laughing like that? The sound grew louder as he neared the living room door. Victor pushed it open and froze. What he saw chilled him to the core. There, on the plush carpet, was a girl about Jamie's age. She was crawling on all fours like a pony, her long dark hair swaying with each movement. She wore a vibrant orange dress that swished side to side, and on her back sat Jamie, gripping her shoulders, bouncing with the widest smile Victor had seen in 2 years. His son's eyes gleamed with pure delight, his cheeks flushed from laughing so hard. "Faster, Lila, faster!" Jamie giggled, pressing his legs against the girl's waist. But what stopped Victor's heart was the sight in the corner. Jamie's wheelchair, empty and abandoned, as if it were irrelevant. Victor's face burned, his fists clenched. This was wrong. Utterly wrong. His son, his precious son, was riding a servant's child like she was some beast. It was humiliating. It was beneath them. "What is this?" Victor's voice thundered through the room. The girl halted instantly. Jamie's smile vanished. Both children turned to face the furious man in the doorway. "Dad!" Jamie's voice was small, frightened. "Get off her now!" Victor stormed into the room, his face crimson with rage. "What do you think you're doing?" The girl, Lila, helped Jamie slide to the carpet. She stood swiftly, her orange dress rumpled and dusty. Her wide hazel eyes brimmed with fear. "I'm sorry, sir," Lila whispered, her voice quivering. "We were just playing." Victor let out a cold, harsh laugh. "You think my living room is your playground? You think my son is your plaything?" Lila stepped back, tears welling in her eyes. "No, sir. I would never—" "Silence!" Victor pointed at her with a trembling finger. "You're a servant's child. You have no place in this room and no business touching my son." Jamie's face paled. He glanced between his father and his friend, fear and confusion swirling in his eyes. "But Dad, we were having fun." "Lila makes me feel. I don't care what she makes you feel." Victor's voice roared louder. "Look at yourself crawling on the floor like an animal." Those words struck Jamie like a blow. His lower lip quivered. Lila took a trembling step forward, despite her fear. "Please don't yell at him, sir." "It was my idea. I just wanted Jamie to smile." "Your idea?" Victor turned his furious gaze on her. "You think you know what's best for my son? You think you understand his needs?" "I understand he's sad," Lila said softly, but her voice was steady. "And when we play, he's not sad anymore." Victor felt a pang in his chest. This nobody, this servant's child, was challenging him in his own home about his own son. Jamie doesn't need friends like you. Victor spat through gritted teeth. He needs proper companions, children from respectable families. Not. He sneered at Lila's disheveled appearance. This. Then Jamie did something that stunned the room. Using the couch for support, he pulled himself upright, standing as tall as his frail legs allowed. His small fists mirrored his father's. "Stop it!" Jamie shouted, louder than Victor had ever heard. "Stop being mean to Lila!" Victor stared, dumbfounded. Jamie trembled, not with fear, but with fury. "She's my friend," Jamie continued, his voice breaking with emotion. "She's the only one who doesn't look at me like I'm broken." The words hung heavy in the air. Victor's heart skipped. Broken? Is that how Jamie saw himself? Lila reached out, taking Jamie's hand. "You're not broken," she whispered. "You're perfect as you are." Victor watched his son's face soften, saw Jamie look at Lila as if she'd given him the greatest gift. And then it hit him, a realization that sank his stomach. This servant's child, in her wrinkled orange dress, had given Jamie something his wealth, doctors, and tutors never could. His smile. But Victor's pride held firm. He couldn't admit it. Not yet. "Both of you upstairs." "Now," Victor said, his voice quieter but laced with menace. Jamie looked at his father, eyes brimming with hurt and disappointment. "You don't understand anything, Dad." As Jamie reached for his wheelchair, Victor saw something that pierced his chest. His son's light had dimmed again. The spark in his eyes was gone, the smile erased. And Victor knew he was the one who'd snuffed it out. But the biggest shock was yet to come. Jamie didn't move toward his wheelchair. Instead, he stood on his trembling legs, glaring at his father with fiery eyes. "No," Jamie said, the word sharp as a blade. Victor blinked. His son had never defied him. Not once. "What did you say?" Victor's voice was dangerously low. "I said no, Dad." Jamie's voice grew stronger. "I'm not going upstairs." And Lila isn't leaving Victor's face flushed again. "You will do as I say, young man." "I'm your father, then act like one!" Jamie shouted. The words hit Victor like a physical blow. He staggered back, stunned. Where was his quiet, obedient son? Where was the boy who whispered, "Yes, sir," and never caused trouble? Lila stepped closer to Jamie, her small hand squeezing his. "It's okay," she whispered. "I can go. I don't want you in trouble, see?" Victor pointed at her. "Even she knows her place." "Why can't you?" That's when Jamie's resolve broke. Loud, angry sobs shook his body. "Because I'm tired of my place," he screamed. "I'm tired of that stupid chair. I'm tired of tutors who treat me like I'm dumb. I'm tired of doctors poking me and saying I'll never be normal." Victor opened his mouth, but Jamie wasn't done. "And I'm most tired of you." Jamie's voice cracked. "You look at me like I'm glass, like I'll shatter if I have too much fun." Lila doesn't do that. She makes me feel like I'm still me. Lila gripped Jamie's hand tighter, standing by him despite her fear. "You don't understand what it's like," Jamie continued, tears streaming down his face. "Every day I wake up and remember I can't walk right, that Mum is gone, that everything's different. But when Lila plays with me..." His voice softened. "I forget all that. For a little while I feel like a normal kid again. Why do you want to take that away?" Before Victor could respond, rapid footsteps echoed from the hall. Lila's mother, Clara, rushed in, her dark hair disheveled from kitchen work, her apron dusted with flour. Seeing her daughter hand in hand with a crying boy, while the furious billionaire loomed over them, her face paled. "Oh no," Clara whispered. "Lila, what have you done?" "She didn't do anything wrong," Jamie yelled, turning to Clara. "She's the best friend I've ever had." Clara looked at Victor, eyes wide with fear. "Sir, please forgive my daughter. I'll take her away. She won't bother Master Jamie again." "Good," Victor said sternly. "That's exactly what's happening." But Lila surprised everyone. The quiet, frightened girl found her voice. "No, Mrs. Stonewood," she said, meeting Victor's gaze. Her voice trembled, but held firm. "I won't apologize for being Jamie's friend." Clara gasped. "Lila, you can't speak to Mr. Stonewood like that." "Why not?" Lila asked, tears in her eyes. "He's being mean to Jamie." "Jamie's sad all the time, and when I play with him, he's happy." "What's wrong with that?" Victor stared at this tiny girl daring to defy him. "What's wrong is you're filling my son's head with foolish notions, making him think he can run and play like other children when he can't." "But he can," Lila countered. "Maybe not the same way, but he can. He's smart, funny, and brave. He just needs someone to believe in him." "I believe in him!" Victor roared. "No, you don't!" Jamie screamed back. "You believe I'm broken. You believe I need to be protected from everything. You believe I can't choose my own friends." Clara stepped forward, hands trembling. "Please, sir, don't punish the children for my daughter's boldness. She has a good heart. She only wanted to help. Help." Victor laughed bitterly. "By letting my son crawl on the floor like an animal? By making him think this game is appropriate for someone of his status." "His status?" Lila's eyes blazed. "What about his happiness? Doesn't that matter?" Victor was stunned into silence by her audacity. This servant's child was lecturing him about his own son. Jamie wiped his nose with his sleeve, looking at his father with the saddest eyes Victor had ever seen. "Dad," Jamie said quietly, "do you know what it's like to have everyone treat you like you're made of glass? Like you'll break if they talk too loud or laugh too hard?" Victor's throat tightened. "Jamie, I'm trying to protect you." "From what?" Jamie asked. "From being happy. From having a friend who doesn't care that I can't walk right. From feeling normal for 5 minutes." Lila nodded, her courage returning. "Jamie tells me things, Mr. Stonewood. He tells me how lonely he is, how he misses his mum, how he wishes people would stop looking at him with pity. He dreams of running and playing like other kids, and when we play, he feels like those dreams are real, even just for a moment." Clara pulled Lila back gently. "Lila, please stop." "I can't, Mama," Lila said, tears streaming down her face. "Jamie's my friend. He makes me laugh too. He tells me stories and helps me with my reading. He's the kindest person I know. Why should I pretend I don't care about him just because he uses a wheelchair?" Jamie looked at Lila with such affection that Victor's heart skipped. "She's right, Dad," Jamie said softly. "Lila doesn't see my wheelchair first. She sees me first. When was the last time you did that?" The question hung like a storm cloud. Victor looked at his son, really looked, and realized something devastating. He couldn't recall when he'd stopped seeing Jamie as his vibrant, curious boy and started seeing only his disability. When had he stopped listening to his son's dreams and focused only on his limitations? But Victor's pride was too strong to yield. Not in front of the servants, not in front of this girl who'd somehow become more important to his son than he was. "This conversation is over," Victor said through clenched teeth. "Clara, take your daughter to your quarters. She's not to come to this part of the house again." "No!" Jamie cried. "You can't do that!" "I can do whatever I want," Victor said coldly. "This is my house." Jamie's face crumpled. But then something extraordinary happened. He let go of Lila's hand and took a wobbly step toward his father. His legs shook, but he didn't fall. "Then maybe I don't want to live in your house anymore," Jamie said quietly. The words struck Victor like a bolt. His son, his only child, would rather leave than lose his friendship with Lila. Clara gasped. Lila's eyes widened. Even Victor felt his world tilt. But the greatest shock was still to come. Victor felt the room spin. His son had just said he'd rather leave home than give up the servant's daughter. "You don't mean that," Victor whispered, his voice suddenly frail. Jamie's chin trembled, but his eyes held firm. "I do, Dad. If Lila can't be my friend, what's the point of staying here? I'm already alone." Those words cut Victor deeper than anything ever had. Alone. His son felt alone in a mansion full of people paid to care for him. Victor stumbled back, collapsing into a leather chair. For the first time in years, he felt small, powerless. "Jamie," he said softly, "you have everything a boy could want. The best tutors, the finest doctors, toys worth more than most people's salaries. But I don't have a friend," Jamie said, his voice breaking. "I don't have someone who likes me for who I am inside." Lila stepped forward, despite Clara's gentle tug. "Mr. Stonewood," she said softly, "Jamie's the bravest person I know. Last week, when I was scared of the thunder, he told me stories until it stopped. When I struggled with a word, he helped me read it. He's not broken. He's wonderful." Victor looked at this girl with messy hair and a rumpled dress and saw something new. When she looked at Jamie, her eyes shone with pure friendship. No pity, no sorrow, just love, the way his wife, Ellen, used to look at Jamie before the accident. Memories flooded Victor like a tidal wave. He saw Jamie at 5, racing through the garden, chasing butterflies, laughing until he was breathless. He saw Ellen scooping Jamie up, spinning him while he squealed. He saw the day everything changed. The call, the hospital, Ellen's hand growing cold in his. Jamie's small body wired to machines, the doctor's words, "spinal injury, may never walk normally again." Victor had vowed that day to shield Jamie from all harm. But somewhere, shielding became controlling, and controlling became caging. "Oh, God!" Victor whispered, head in his hands. "What have I done?" Jamie took another shaky step toward him. "Dad, are you okay?" Victor looked up through tear-blurred eyes. He saw Jamie, not the wheelchair, not the injury, just his bright, brave, lonely boy who wanted to feel normal. "Jamie," Victor said, voice thick with tears he'd held back for years. "I'm so sorry." "Sorry for what, Dad?" Victor wiped his eyes. "For making you feel broken when you're not. For making you feel alone when you shouldn't. For caring more about protecting you than making you happy." Jamie's eyes widened. His dad never cried. His dad never apologized. "I thought keeping you safe would make you okay." Victor continued. "But I was wrong. I wasn't keeping you safe. I was keeping you from living." Lila stepped closer. "Mr. Stonewood, does that mean Jamie and I can still be friends?" Victor looked at her and saw what Jamie saw, a kind, brave girl who cared nothing for wealth or wheelchairs, only for Jamie. "What's your favorite thing to do with Jamie?" Victor asked gently. Lila's face lit up. "We read stories and draw pictures. Sometimes we pretend we're explorers finding new worlds. Jamie has the best imagination." Victor's heart clenched. When had he last asked Jamie about his imagination? When had they last read or drawn together? He couldn't recall. "Jamie," Victor said, turning to his son, "what's your favorite thing about Lila?" Jamie smiled, the first since Victor's return. "She makes me feel like I can do anything. When I'm with Lila, I don't think about what I can't do. I think about what I can do." Clara stepped forward, still holding Lila's hand. "Sir, my daughter would be honored to continue being Master Jamie's friend, if you allow it." Victor rose slowly and approached the trio, who looked up with hopeful, nervous eyes. "Lila," he said, kneeling to her level. I owe you an apology. You've given my son something I forgot how to give him. What's that, sir? Lila asked quietly. Joy, Victor said simply. You've given him back his joy. Lila's face broke into a radiant smile. Really? I can keep being Jamie's friend? Victor nodded. But I have one condition. Jamie's smile faltered. What condition, Dad? Victor grinned, a real smile, the first in years. That sometimes you let your old dad join in. I've forgotten how to play, and I could use some teachers. Jamie lunged forward, hugging his father so tightly Victor nearly toppled. Really, Dad? You want to play with us? Really? Victor said, hugging back with all his strength. I want to see the world through your eyes again. Both of your eyes, Lila clapped her hands. We can show you the game where Jamie's a brave knight and I'm his trusty steed. Victor laughed, a sound he hadn't made since Ellen's death. A brave knight? I like that. What does this knight do? He saves people, Jamie said excitedly, and goes on adventures and never gives up, even when it's hard. Victor looked at his son with new eyes. Jamie was a brave knight, fighting battles every day, against his body, his loneliness, his father's misunderstanding. And he'd been winning alone. You know what, Jamie? Victor said, lifting his son and spinning him like Ellen once did. You're the bravest knight I've ever met. Jamie giggled, that pure, joyful laughter that started it all. Does this mean no more boring tutors every day? Well, Victor winked. Maybe we balance tutors with fun. Layla, can you help make sure Jamie gets both learning and playing? Yes, sir, Lila said, bouncing on her toes. I know lots of fun games. Clara wiped tears from her eyes. Thank you, sir, for seeing what a special friendship this is. Victor placed a hand on Clara's shoulder. Thank you for raising such a wonderful daughter. She's taught me more about being a father in one day than I've learned in 2 years. As the sun set through the living room's grand windows, Victor realized something profound. He was the wealthiest man in the city, owner of companies, buildings, and cars worth millions. But the most precious thing he held was in his arms, laughing with his best friend. His son's happiness was worth more than all his riches. He'd nearly lost it by forgetting the greatest truth. Love isn't about shielding someone from everything. It's about helping them soar. What would you do as Victor? Would you choose pride or your child's happiness? Have you ever learned that protecting someone sometimes means letting them fly? If this story moved you, like this video and share it with someone who needs a reminder of what truly matters. Subscribe to Boundless Echoes for more stories proving love and courage can come from unexpected places. Comment below. What's the biggest lesson you took from Jamie and Lila's friendship? We read every comment. Remember, life's greatest treasures can't be bought. They're earned with an open heart. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to Boundless Echoes to support us. See you in the next video.